ببینید یه مسئله ما هممون ایرانی هستیم رهبرامون رو بچسبونیم بغل هم تمام دنیا رو میاریم پایین ما قوی هستیم واقعا قوی 30 سال تلک خوردیم نه که 30 سال تلک هم شما تلک خوردید هم ما بیاییم بچه ها رو نجات بدیم حیف این خوناشون نمیشه حیف پس بیاییم مسئولش که با هم صحبت نه اول مسئول چیز فرق اینه که اینجا مسئول زیاده خب از که ولی همین که شما باید محبت کردیم میگه احتیاج ما با هم یعنی الان نمیتونیم با هم میکنیم آره با هم میکنیم بگید ما همه این United Nations that is hold it up. Oh, that's good. The down on the floor is better. Maybe for you. Why not? But not for me. اشته بودیم برای ایشون و امروز تشریف آوردن خواهش کردیم که مدتشو در حدود 3 دقیقه نگه دارن قربان شما
بیارش بالا با دست بیارش میکروفونی خود کوتاهه ببین سال
میخواد درش بیاد
الان میتونم
Long live the American Iranian solidarity!
Long live American Iranian solidarity!
Long live freedom!
Long live freedom!
Long live democracy!
Long live democracy!
Ladies and gentlemen, the honorable members of the United Nations and American policymakers, members of the press, 30 years of torture, 30 years of executions, 30 years of illegal imprisonment, 30 years of oppression of the people who once were the pioneers of human rights, 30 years of abuse of the women who once held the positions of commander-in-chief.
Use the other one.
How long would it take for the world to realize the cause of international terrorism? How long do you close your eyes on duplicity and political trickery of a brutal regime? How much more evidence on brutalization of peaceful protesters, abduction of innocents, and rape do you wish to have before you stand for all those who long for freedom and democracy in Iran? What is the expected outcome of holding talks with a terrorist regime? What do you hope to accomplish by giving credibility to a tyrant regime whose very nature is clearly rejected by the Iranian people? What would it take for you to hear the loud and clear cry of freedom-loving people of Iran for a secular government? Ladies and gentlemen, it is naive and unrealistic to believe that the behavior of the Islamic regime can be changed through the use of incentives. The idea of exporting the Islamic revolution is a fundamental part of the regime. This is an organization called God's Army, created by the regime to pursue this goal. This organization is part of the power structure in Iran. It trains young volunteers for suicide bombing all over the world. There is also a military seminary school in the city of Qom called Mufid School, where ideological brainwashing of vulnerable young Iranians occurs. Those young recruits are given a key to heaven before committing their attacks.
Bravo, bravo.
The terrorist activities of the Islamic regime cannot be stopped by making promises. It is written into their constitution that fundamentalist Islamic ideology should conquer the world. The severity of this is apparently not understood by the West. The Islamic regime believes that there is a war between militant Islam and the rest of the world. This regime feeds its supporters by using this ideological animosity. By adopting this so-called God-given mandate arbitrarily interpreted from the Quran, the Islamic regime has become the biggest sponsor of terrorism.
Bravo, bravo.
There is no doubt that the nuclear ambitions and activities of the Islamic regime are a danger to the whole world and must be stopped. However, it is a huge mistake to ignore the terrorist nature of this regime and assume that it can be brought into the world community by bribes and lucrative incentives. The reality of the Islamic regime, based on its track record, is that the existence of the oppressive government is not only a daily danger to the lives of millions of Iranians, it is a danger to the entire world. This threat must be removed.
مرگ بر جمهوری اسلامی، مرگ بر جمهوری اسلامی. زندانی سیاسی آزاد باید گردد. زندانی سیاسی آزاد باید گردد.
The task of changing the regime of terror in Iran and establishing a secular democratic government undertaken by freedom-loving Iranian people is difficult, but Iranians are capable of defeating their enemy, the Islamic regime, if it is not supported by the interest-driven industrial power. If the US wants to show support for the Iranians, it should respect its free wishes. Imposing a smart sanction against the Islamic regime of Iran. This sanction should be a real one and not of the type that would exclude 200 American companies, including Halliburton, Nokia, and General Electric.